You've tuned into the Bellingham Podcast for the week of August 11, 2019. This is a blustery 128. At the seashore of the city by the Salish Sea, I am AJ Barce.
And working on my suntan for summer, I'm Chris Powell. On this episode, every year when summer comes around, they stretch a banner across the main street in town. You can feel something happening in the air. Well, from Carol's house up on Telegraph Hill, you can see the lights going up out in the Soldiers Field. Guess what? AJ and I are getting ready for the county fair just like the boss. So step right up and grab your complimentary ticket. The ride's just starting. This, friends and neighbors, is the Bellingham Podcast.
With windswept hairs and windswept microphones. How you doing, Chris?
I'm just loving life right now. We are on location.
I know, we haven't done this in a few
Finally busted out of the studio. Yes. Well, AJ Barce, where are we?
Well, we are at the heart of our fair city. We're at Waypoint Park.
That's right, on Granary Avenue and Laurel Street, for those of you playing Google Maps trying to stalk us. It's a beautiful area. It's kind of like, as I was talking about earlier, this is almost like what they the day before they open up the carnival for all the rides.
Yes.
It's not quite the grand opening of this fine park establishment right here on the waterfront. Ambient noise is courtesy of Bellingham Vehicles and Seagulls. But we are having an outdoor recording on our, thousands of dollars worth of equipment?
Well, I mean, if you count the iPhones,
yeah. The iPhones and the Shure MV5 mics for those of you that want to be starting your own podcast. AJ, what is on your wrist?
What is on my wrist?
Hi, Watchfam.
My SKX 031 that's been upgraded to sapphire and ceramic. What's on your wrist, Chris?
Well, funny you should ask about that. I got news for you. It's the same watch. SKX 007 modified by yourself. That is just a different strap, that's all, based on the clothing that I wear. It's either black or dark gray.
Yep.
So anyway, first of all, got a little bit of listener feedback. Had a chat with one of our faithful listeners. This is a shout out to Tom.
Hey, Tom.
He made me aware of Liv watches, L-I-V.
L-I-V. Mm-hmm.
And we got a link to that in the show notes. For the love of Adrian Vandenberg, drink. Although a little spendy, Tom quoted, the designs are really cool. He relates to the orange and appreciates the classy portrayal of the color. Those Liv watches, they are up on the somewhat spendy side, but you know what? I kind of like the style that they have. It's urban, burly.
Yeah. It's got that urban burliness that you like, that urban tactical.
Yes.
I'm going to call it more of a contemporary look.
There you go.
A little bit more avant-garde, if I could say.
The Seagull is also an approval of it as well. Yeah. I'm a fan of the Liv GX1A in the stealth gray band. For those of you that want to bless me with something for Christmas, they are Swiss-made, Swiss Selita caliber SW201 movement.
Well, I'll speak to that in a second.
There you go. And 3-hand automatic with date for all that on a sesame-seed bun.
Liv. I mean, it's interesting because you either love them or hate them when it comes to their design, because that design aesthetic can be very polarizing.
Sure.
I would not call them a classical looking watch
yet.
They're more modern.
Okay.
But no, if you're a fan of the gray, and if you want to, yes, they're a little bit pricey. I would say they're actually in the more affordability line with regards to the spec. I mean, the SW200 is the same power plant that I put into my watch that I built for my son. And I hate that keyless to this date still.
Fair enough.
But no, if you're a fan of that, that gray, the gray aesthetic, and if you like the orange accents, they have a lot of orange accents in their design. I would encourage you to take a look at maybe Oak and Oscar. Sup, Chase? Because if you kind of see Liv as a little bit too avant-garde for you, Oak and Oscar is a little bit more subdued. Especially here in the city of subdued excitement. And it's an American brand, it's a young brand, but definitely has comparable spec, if not a little bit higher, in my opinion. So take a look at either one of those brands.
So, Tom, thanks for the heads up on Liv watches, and thanks for also listening again to the Bellingham Podcast. Hey, AJ, guess what?
What's that?
People can also listen to us on community-powered KMRE FM.
They're also community-powered and streaming at KMRE.org.
And Mondays at 6:30 and Thursdays at 6 p.m. You can hear this fine show over your terrestrial radio FM dial.
And they're streaming. I think it's over your speakers. But anyway.
And there's also streaming worldwide at KMRE.org.
I already said that part.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll say it again. They're also streaming at KMRE.org. Thank you very much for hosting our show, guys.
So, gosh golly, step right up, boys and girls. Step right up. What's coming down the pipe there, Chris?
Well, first of all, did you catch my hook?
Yes, I did. That's why I was doing
No, do you know the reference that I pulled it from?
No, I never do because I'm not as hip in pop culture as you are. I'm not a hipster like you are.
I'll get you a bib. All right, so that hook that I had was lyrics from a studio outtake from Bruce Springsteen's County Fair. It was from the Born in the USA sessions, I believe, because it was from 1983, which trivia right here was the first cassette I ever bought, Born in the USA by the Boss. You can find it on the Essential Bruce Springsteen album on whatever platform you like to hear your audio music.
What's up, Bruce?
We're talking about the fair.
The fair.
Coming up, so next week, by the time you are hearing this, coming up this week is the Lynden Fair, also known as the Northwest Washington Fair, from August 12th through the 17th. We got a link to the website in the show notes. For the love of Joe Satriani.
Drink.
And it's kind of a summertime tradition around here. Little bit of an advertisement, just so you all are aware. If you haven't seen who's playing by now, Monday is going to be the Demolition Derby on the Grandstand main stage, that big spot that everyone goes to. The Lynden PRCA Rodeo will be Tuesday and Wednesday. Larry the Cable Guy, God help us, is going to be performing on Thursday.
Mater.
Yes.
Mater.
Yes, indeed. And country music star Mark Chestnut will be on Friday. And then, yes, I surrender to their mighty wings. Cheap Trick is going to be playing on Saturday. Yes, you get two references in the price of one.
I feel you, Goose. I feel you.
But here's the thing. Heads up, military folk, active duty, retired, and veteran military personnel. Wednesday of the fair, you get complimentary gate admission for all active duty, retired, and veteran military personnel and their accompanying spouse and children. Hello. And they're going to have a special evening flag ceremony to also give props and much respect. About as much as you get from here at the Bellingham Podcast. So anyway, you can watch a little bit of a rodeo and get in free for you, your spouse, and any particular kiddos you might have. But I got a question for you, AJ.
I've got an answer for you, Chris.
I bet you do. As we're talking about fairs, county fairs, carnivals, et cetera, what would be a memory of county fairs back in your days of Ute?
Oh, my county fairs are, the list is long but distinguished.
Kind of like our episodes.
No, so I spent a lot of time at the Kitsap County Fair growing up.
All right.
And I knew a lot of horsers and a lot of 4-H'ers, and my own father participated in various events in the fairs past. But growing up as a kid around different fairs, my thing, which would always bring up some friendly competition with my peer group, would have to be the shooting gallery.
The shooting gallery.
Yeah. So like at our fair, we had a shooting gallery where it's not the carnival game where you have to like put the water gun in the clown's mouth.
Yeah, hold that thought. I got a story about that.
I figured you would.
Yeah.
And it's not the one where you shoot the star out. Not those gimmicks. But this was actually a legit shooting gallery where there would be 10 targets that would the animatronics would like pop up and you pull the trigger on like. Back in my day, it was kind of more along the lines of Duck Hunt and Nintendo. Yes. So, you had a light gun type of thing. Well, me and my buddy, I'll actually name him out, Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hi, Scott.
We would always have a friendly competition of who would be the sharper shot. And I always won. I
can imagine. See, you're painting a picture for me that relates to Back to the Future 3 when Marty goes back to the Old West and they have the little town thing and he has the pistol and such and he gave the duck hunt thing. I'm picturing you in that Clint Eastwood garb in the shooting gallery.
Absolutely.
Going to call you Crack Shot from now on.
I or at least a Cracker Barrel. How
there
about
you
go.
Very good. Well, for me, growing up in a little town also on the Olympic Peninsula called Sequim.
Hey, Sequim.
Sequim, if you are not from there. Currently, they have a lavender festival.
Oh, yes,
which is wonderful because there's a ton of lavender in Sequim in the Dungeness Valley. Before that, when I was growing up in my heyday, they had a different name for the festival.
What, the Purple Festival?
Not quite. It was called the Irrigation Festival.
Okay, that's an interesting name.
So anyway, now that you've stopped chuckling. Keep your eyes on the wheel as you're listening to this podcast behind, as you're driving. No, it was an actual big event. They had the Queens and Princesses, Irrigation Festival Queens and Princesses.
Okay.
And they would have the Captain Fantastic Carnival that would roll into the big acreage area between the elementary school, middle school, and high school, which were kind of all in one big area. Memory that I had in high school of going to the Captain Fantastic Carnival with a buddy of mine, that clown that you shoot the hose with the water
pistol. Yeah.
I saw as one of the prizes that they dazzle in front of you was a mirrored, like about a foot diameter, mirrored logo of Whitesnake.
Oh, man.
That 80s rock band. You catch the Adrian Vandenberg reference out there, 80s rock fans? And so it was a bigger one, and you saw little smaller ones, and I saw a sign that, trade 2 small prizes for 1 bigger one. Okay, well, I'll give it a try, throw a couple bucks. Well, it turns out I got first place. Like, finger on the trigger, water went right into the clown's mouth, popped the balloon, and it turns out that I didn't have to trade up because there were like more than 8 people competing. Mm-hmm. So I got the big mirror of the Whitesnake thing. I hung that in my room with pride, laddie.
And it's still in your room.
No, unfortunately, Captain Minimal here, that got brought into the Goodwill a long time ago.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, because, I don't think the wife wants to have 80s hard rock band mirrors as I'm checking my look in the mirror.
Oh, come on, Chris's wife.
Anyway, but as we're speaking about the Lynden Fair, I've gone there for a number of years, got a memory of this event. Got a story to tell you. Back around 12 years ago, one of the headline acts for the Lynden Fair was Uncle Ted.
Uncle Ted?
Nope.
Excellent Adventures?
Nope, not from Bill and Ted. This is Ted Nugent. Played the Lynden Fair, and as luck would have it, this was around the days of the internet. As soon as I heard about this, I had to go see Ted Nugent because let me make no mistake, I am a fan of his guitar music.
Yes.
That being said, to watch him perform live, that was in the days of the internet where they had tickets online starting at 10 a.m. Well, I happened to be at a location that had very fast internet coverage.
56K modem? Or?
Yeah, no, it was a little bit faster than that. Anyway, and I was hitting F5, refresh. Finally, tickets went on sale, and I got the best one. And so I didn't really want to go to the fair at the time. I parked, and, when you park at the Lynden Fair, you park blocks away, which is no big whoop. Walked, checked, showed them my ticket, got into admission, walked through the carnival, the fair crowd, got to my seat. I was in the front row on the right side, like stage right.
Nice.
And I had about maybe 30 seconds before the lights went down and the show started. And I'm like, I couldn't have planned that logistic better.
You made your own VIP experience.
And, of course, everyone's on their feet as Uncle Ted comes out with his guitar ablaze. And I happened to give him a big old salute, and he saluted me back.
Oh, nice.
So, I'm a fan. Stranglehold was one of the first songs I ever learned how to play on electric guitar.
Awesome.
And that's all I'm going to say about Ted Nugent.
All right.
But that was a wonderful memory I had of the Lynden Fair. But, there are some draws to the Lynden Fair outside of the music. So as far as top 3 highlights of the fair, I'll go first this time.
Okay.
Because I'm prepared with our show notes.
Drink.
And so in recent years, I really haven't been much for the amusement games of chance and luck and skill. I haven't been much for the extensive vendors selling their wares, but I am a fan of the turkey leg.
Oh man, that thing might as well be a weapon.
It is, and I wield it. I wield the bone like a club, and my wife loves taking a picture of me with my turkey leg, which is devoured within about 20 minutes.
Bravo, Ragnar.
Indeed. And if you've been to the Northwest Washington Fair, you know what I'm talking about. It's about $15 for about a pound's worth of meat and about maybe a 16-inch.
It's a club.
It
is straight up a club.
I wield it with glee. The next thing that I thoroughly enjoy about the Lynden Fair is the live music stages. Now, I'm not talking about the grandstand and stuff. There are other local artists, amphitheater-esque type things, and stages for local artists to be able to play a set. I'm a fan of live music and live performances. And there are some pretty good, talented artists of all different types of genres. Mm-hmm. Sometimes comedians, sometimes hypnotists. They're cool also.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things that I enjoy, kind of gooning from the background, just to see what kind of music are they playing, what kind of gear are they using, et cetera, et cetera.
Totally. And
then finally, one of the third of many draws that I have to the Lynden Fair is the artwork.
Yes.
There are a lot of submitted art, designs, drawings through various media, get ribbons, but that are shown. And I'm like, there's a lot of talent in Whatcom County. Mm-hmm. Those kiddos, and there are often a lot of kiddos in various age ranges, and there's also the professional ones as well. I really am impressed with what they've got to. That is one thing that I will be checking out as the time comes. So, AJ, going to the Lynden Fair, what are 3 draws that you have that makes you want to go to the fair?
Well, the first is on the way there on I-5. I might be tuning into our show on KMRE 102.3 FM.
They're community powered and also streaming on the internet should you have that available to you on kmre.org.
So anyway, once we do arrive, much like you, I do like the art, and I especially love the kid. I love any part of the fair that involves the kiddos, and I love 4-H.
Yes.
I was never a part of 4-H. I had a lot of friends that did do it and were in that group, and it's a really tight-knit group of kids really getting a lot of different skills that maybe they don't get in their elementary school, like being able to get outside the box, talk to strangers, to work with adults, work with animals. This is, so I have a lot of respect for that. So with that said, I love always going to the little kids section when it comes to whether it's mutton busting or even if they're showing, whatever yes, there's the cats and the dogs, but the best hen or whatever. I love whatever the kiddos are doing.
Very good.
Art, kiddos. And then for me, I don't know, the third one for me would probably have to be just the rodeo folk. I just have a mad respect for anybody who decides to take that on in their life.
Yes.
Because that is it's entertainment and stuff, but those performers, those cowboys and cowgirls, when you're strapped and you're saddled on a piece of bucking meat that does not like that you're up there, that there's a lot of respect that has to come to that.
I've never heard that term before. That's why I chuckled. Not at them, but at that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. When it comes to looking at rodeo folk, there's the rodeo folk, and then there's also the handlers, like the clowns. Those folk that are there, the bullfighters, as it were, the ones that are there to protect the rodeo folk who are on the PBR circuit or whoever, I always have mad respect for those folk.
And a tip of the hat from the Bellingham podcast to the rodeo clowns and those that are keeping everyone safe. Yeah. That is something that I may not have the courage to put on.
It's not in my job description, guys.
I don't think I'm not there yet. But
no,
anyway.
I always have a different reverence when it comes to the cowboy folk. Yes, it's entertaining and stuff, but I look at the mad skill that those people do in their bodies, in their craft when it comes to bull riding, roping, whatever. So,
sure. Very good.
Totes.
What else appeals to you about the fair? You got the artwork, you got the kiddos, you got the rodeo.
I'm not much on I mean, as much as I like the shooting gallery days of my youth,
yes.
Much like you, I have more embraced the minimal side, and I don't really go through the carnival thing, and I don't like rides.
I will say,
my thing.
I will contribute that, the little kids section of the carnival rides.
Yeah.
There's the big kid ones, and that's always just jacked full of people. Hold that thought. But for the little kiddos and the little kiddo rides, the train and the
carousel,
and the little fun house and such, I have some pretty good memories of when my beautiful daughter was a little shrimp.
Oh.
A little shrimpy.
Oh.
And I have a picture that I am cherishing in my mind, and I have where I'm holding her, and it's an up-close shot of us, and she's really knackered from that activity at the fair. She went on so many rides. Unfortunately, I would love to have been able to sit with her in those rides, but I'm kind of a double XL, and I don't quite fit in those kiddo rides. So anyway, I always enjoy seeing just the glee and the joy that occurs for that. So as you were experiencing the fair, you might get some intrinsic joy out of just watching little ones have some fun.
No matter what you do, you can't go wrong with the fair. And also, the other thing that I would point out is, because you mentioned in your stories of yesteryear to see Uncle Ted, when you do park, one, don't block anybody's driveway. It is the town of Lynden, and it is on the main drag.
Yeah.
But the second thing is, most of the designated parking lots, when you give parking, that money actually goes to 4-H or other youth groups. So be sure to remember that when you are parking. If you do get that far lot, don't begrudgingly give them that money, because again, that's kids doing their best to support whatever programs that they're in.
And a good point. And along those lines, this is not like the ordeal you have to experience when parking for a major sports event down in the Soto area, if you will. These are some Lynden's finest.
Yeah, you're walking 3 Lynden blocks, not 20 Seattle miles.
Hashtag perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's a question for you, AJ.
Hit me.
As we've had previous episodes where we were talking about if we were mayor, fictitious mayor, if we were to have a Bellingham pledge or code of conduct, if you were able to be in control of the fair, or you're calling the shots, because I always like, thinking about what would I do? AJ, what would you do to either improve or modify the fair as it currently is?
I mean, I like the fair as it is. Like, being around the fair a lot growing up, like it's, I got to see how things were done and what led to the final product. But that's the thing is like when a lot of people go to the fair, they just usually kind of toolie about. They go through the stalls. They see the blue ribbon on that one happy hog.
Yes.
And maybe they'll talk to the kiddo. What I'd like to see is I'm going to bring technology into this.
Bring it.
Hold on.
All right.
It would be great to have like maybe those that are the winners of the fair or whatever have some sort of video vignette to actually show not just the final product, but the work and labor that goes into raising those animals, those crops, those whatever. Because the fair, the fair is basically a culmination of our agroecology, of our, bioregion right now, right?
Very good.
But we only see the final product, and I think that kind of contributes to our lackadaisical look when it comes to where our food and our farming comes from. So I don't know. So I guess if I was the fictional grand poobah of the fair, I would want to bring in more of an educational component, not just a showcase.
Very good. Well, there's a whole lot of digital signage that could be assembled for something like that,
or something mobile. I don't know. Just that just off the cuff, not really thinking about it. That's what I would do. What
Very
about you,
good.
Chris?
I got a couple ideas as I was thinking about that because I like thinking about being in control of many things, but one of them. While I enjoy the fair, I know that as people talk about the fair, and I talked about the turkey leg, well, that's high in protein. It's also high in sodium.
It's also like 1 million calories.
Oh, that too. But along those lines, people talk about the Lynden Fair and in the same sentence talk about the moo witches and the puffer cheese. Forgive me if I mispronounced it. And other types of, the big plate of French fries. Funnel cake, yes.
Funnel.
You see where I'm headed with this, folks. If I was in charge, I think I might want to maybe let those traditions exist in the past and try to have a little bit more healthier foods available in the food vending area because, people go to the fair and they pork out and then they
pork out. I see what you did there.
You see, yep. And they spend the next week or so trying to work that off.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The other thing, and this is mainly a self-serving, selfish kind of thing I would initiate, I would have a lot of locations that would be dispensaries for allergy medications.
Oh, for hay fever?
So I am a type that, full disclosure, as you say, I am a late season allergy person.
Oh, man.
And there are a couple times where I'm out in the main carnival ride area for the bigger kids.
Yep.
And it's the hay is all over the place. And I just cannot open my eyes. I'm sneezing every 5 seconds.
Ugh.
And it's just not a tough thing. Had I had the wherewithal to take allergy medication beforehand, that'd be great. But a lot of people get caught off guard.
Sure.
And as Grand Poobah of the fair, in my own mind, I would probably have some kind of allergy dispensary. So
okay. Well, let me grab a lariat and bring this back in. So I got nothing.
Nice.
So everyone, go to the fair, check it out, support our local agroecologists,
yes,
and our farmers and our ranchers and our kiddos and our anybody else that contributes to it. But since we have extra time on the clock, let's talk about where we're recording, Chris.
Let's recap. We are at the Waypoint Park on Granary and Laurel Street, overlooking the beautiful waterfront that is Bellingham.
Yes, and the wonderful seagulls that have been contributing to our recording today. Also in front of the acid ball.
The acid ball, yes. That big sphere.
It's a sphere. It's an orb.
It's an orb,
and
yes.
I believe it's now lit up at night, isn't it?
It sure sounds good.
Two out of three seagulls agree.
That's right. It's a beautiful area. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to come here and park and just see how much development has been done and where things are headed.
And the road is open, so you can park. We parked on the main road coming in, which is Granary Avenue.
Right.
But the Granary building, is that what they're calling this?
The
now?
building with windows.
The
How
building
about
with windows.
That's my working title for it.
Yes. So the nice white building with that used to have the ivy heart. They have the heart being regrown on the side. Is not open to our dismay. That was originally, ladies and gentlemen of Podcast Land, where we were going to record, but it is currently still looks like still being under development.
Yeah, in time. Thank you, Bellingham, for all the work that's been done so far. Thank you, Porter Bellingham.
I guess so.
And thanks, Mayor Kelly, for doing all that needed to be done so that we could broadcast here in a pretty cool environment.
What's up, Mayor Kelly?
Hey, Mayor Kelly.
Former Mayor Kelly? I guess we got to refer to her.
She's still mayor until that election, dude.
Oh, valid.
Yeah. So anyway, she's still Mayor Kelly to us until what, November?
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Guess what?
Yes.
Time to stick a fork in the show.
Okay, that wraps up for this 128th edition of the Bellingham Podcast. Thank you again so much for listening to us, rating us, reviewing us, wherever you like to get your podcast. Remember, if you are in the Bellingham area, you might see us near the Granary building or tune into us on Camry 102.3 FM.
They're community powered, and you can also listen to us on the radio Mondays at 6:30 p.m. and Thursdays at 6 p.m.
Yeehaw! I'm AJ Barsay.
And I'm Chris Powell. Thanks once again for joining us on the Bellingham Podcast.
Really? That's what I get when I do a yeehaw?
Dude, I am not one to yee my haw.
Yeehaw!